and then it says to me, Lou is recording the call, and it should say at the top of yours something about
Yeah.
you let folks know you're recording the call.
Yeah. Hey, you're being recorded, so watch what you say.
For legal reasons and such, don't be a jerk.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, we're free to talk about anything you want to today. This is the inaugural episode of the Stew Pot, the newly started podcast by Lou Marconi, as known as Beef Stew Lou Marconi. So, aptly named it the Stew Pot. The guy that I'm bringing on the first guest of this first episode because he was the one that inspired me to do this. Corey Castle, thanks for coming, Corey.
Thanks, man. Thanks so much for having me a part of it. I wanted to encourage more people that I knew who had a good perspective and a good voice to start their own podcasts, so I have a podcast to come on.
You're not just talking to yourself in your apartment all day. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been doing that before I was stuck in the apartment.
Yeah. I tell you what, I told my wife about it. She was glad because she says you always talk about wrestling and people need to convey knowledge and people need to talk about things more.
Yeah.
And I think it's very helpful. I honestly, go ahead.
Lessons learned from vets are passed down verbally and passed down through stories.
Right.
So you get that by learning who got good in the past.
Yeah, you learn it by riding in the car and getting the experience in the ring, working with guys that have been experienced, and it comes to you. Yeah, because that's what I think is lacking, because this was the most interesting story. It was like one of my last matches before I hung it up. It was the night I dropped the national title in Nashville, Tennessee, and in that locker room was Tracy Smothers, Jerry Lynn, and Bill Dundee. Mm. You know who was the only other guy talking to them, or at least sat down and listened to talk with them? I was on my way out of the business. Was me. Mm. I came over and talked to him and sat down with them, and I had like a quick match that night too.
Well, we did a show. We did a show in Nashville for Capitol. We did a show for Nashville in Capitol for Nashville in Nashville, whatever. It was for some nonprofit thing or whatever. But one of the matches we booked had Tracy Smothers.
Tracy Smothers.
Yeah, and one of the guys that it was like they put him in a 6-man tag, and one of the guys that wrestled him didn't know who he was, had no idea. The guy who beat him didn't know who he was.
He got to go over on him?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How old was this kid?
19 or 20.
That makes sense.
19 or 20, and they're pushing who they're pushing,
19 or 20, so that makes him born in 2001, 2000.
Right. So he wouldn't have ever known who the hell Tracy Smothers was, or ECW, or the FBI, or any of that.
Yeah. Well, Tracy Smothers, he was my technically he was my ECW tryout match, because what they do when they bring you in, Lou Meany introduced me to Paul Heyman. I think I told you that. And then we did a workout. And in that workout match, in front of all the boys, I worked with Tracy Smothers.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember I was doing some stuff, and I was working with him. I worked with Little Guido. I worked with Spike Dudley. We did some stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then Rick Rude, you ever seen Rick Rude came in the ring? Lord rest his soul. He said, "So let me see something." He goes, "Put your hand out." I did, and he stomped my fingers, and he wanted to see how I sell it. And then when he stomped my fingers, I grabbed my fingers. I was like, and then he turned around and gave Paulie the thumbs up, like, kid knows how to sell. You know what I mean? It was just so, and I worked Bam Bam Bigelow that night. So, so that's just how it worked, but that's how they did it. And there's a quick ECW story, because we talked about the New Jack Dark Side of the Ring. What's this episode? Is it the Brawl for It All Tuesday?
Yeah, the one, the upcoming one, the next one. I'm not sure if it's Monday night or Tuesday night.
I think it's probably Tuesday night, because I don't think they want to go up against Raw.
Well, it's a whole different thing. The people who watch Raw, dude, you can record anything and watch it later that night.
Yeah.
So it's not the same generation. like missing out on the ratings, because like I can watch WWE Network in here and watch Raw out there, you know what I mean, in that room, and it's the same network. It doesn't matter.
It's like
or like like I could be watching it on Fox and then watching it on the network or on YouTube, and it's not the same. Like it doesn't really affect the draw anymore, because
right.
it's not a scheduled TV show time that you want to watch it, because everything's on demand, you know?
Yeah. Like my girls, they love Disney Plus. They'll watch Frozen 100 times. I'm surprised they don't know. My daughters do, but they'll have that on. And if I want to watch something else, I'll have it on either my tablet or on my phone, or I go into another room and I can watch it. Right. So it's just like, yeah, it's because we don't have actual cable. We have Roku TVs and YouTube TV. That's our basically our local channels, and they watch PBS Kids a lot too.
Yeah, dude. Tubi, and what was it? Pluto TV, and YouTube TV are like my whole stuff. Like most of what I watch is on those things.
Well, quick ECW story. I was going to tell you this. I'm not going to say the guy's name because he's no longer with us. It was in Cleveland. It wasn't me, but I heard about this. He's a local guy in Cleveland. Thought he was the shit. Thought he was everything. He walks in. He starts shaking hands. He said, "Yeah, I run the indie scene here in Cleveland." And he locked up with somebody. I think it was Nova. If I'm not mistaken. I heard it was Nova. It could have been anybody. Might have been Bubba Ray too. And he said, take it easy. And then they gave him the signal. They gave the signal, and they kept him in the ring. He wouldn't let him tag out until he blew up and gave up. And then they threw his bag at him and said, "Get out of here, you piece of shit."
What's the guy's name? Do you know?
Oh, I knew who the guy was. Yeah, the guy was. He's no longer.
You don't want to say his name on the record?
I don't want to say his name, but I heard the story, and I was like, yeah, and I just went, oh God. This is when they were in Cleveland. It was like 1998, 99. And it was just like, yeah, they blew him up. Well, he didn't have wind. I knew that. He didn't have wind. I had wind.
Right.
At that time when I did it, I was good. I mean, I could go. I mean, I didn't blow up.
Who says to someone in any locker room, "I run the place. I run the whole city, and I got this. I run the indie scene." Like,
yeah,
you don't do.
Well, just in fairness to him, he wasn't trained.
Right.
He wasn't formally trained by anybody.
It was just a delusional mark.
You can kind of say that. Yeah, he wasn't formally trained, so he wasn't broken in properly, and he's self-taught. He slowed down VHS tapes and taught himself how to do it. And he actually had talent. He could have been pretty good if he would have applied himself. He went somewhere and gotten trained correctly. But
he's probably from a different time, and I think that some people just like do it, and they do it, and then when they're in the locker room, the boys teach them stuff.
Yeah. I was always like, hey, keep your mouth shut and just be respectful. And I remember when I met Charlie Fulton, I called him Mr. Fulton, and I shook his hand. I did that firm handshake, which people told me later, don't do that. Just don't do the work. You ever heard of that 3-finger handshake?
The dead fish.
Don't do that either. Don't do that. Just shake their hand normal.
The gimmicky thing.
Yeah, because
John Sand still does it. It's so stupid.
Who does it?
I think Zandig still does it. I haven't seen him in a million years, but he always did it when I used to be around him all the time. I'm like, stop.
Well, my first year in the business, I was learning that. I was told to do that. And all these other one of the crap indie shows I started on. I got to meet Jerry Lawler.
You can work.
I got to meet Jerry Lawler. So when I shook his hand and met him, he gave me this look. He was asking me about that handshake, and then he asked me if I was gay. I swear to God. I never did it again after that. He kind of told me, "They're ribbing you, kid. Don't do it." That's what he said to me. And I was like,
Vince McMahon himself has called it passe. So if Vince McMahon is saying that the most old school passe thing is passe, then it's passe.
Yeah, well, they're doing that three. I think I heard Fez started that as a rip. I heard that, but I don't know how true it is. So, I talked
Well,
to a friend.
I
What's
think
that?
from now on, with the world being what it is, the history that we're living through, no one's going to be doing any kind of handshaking anytime soon with anybody. Um, and when wrestling comes back and you're in locker rooms, it's going to probably be fist pumps. It's going to be little pounds to say what's up. Not really as much embracing, at least for a little while. At least for a little while, because people are going to be paranoid. People are going to be scared to leave their houses. People are going to be scared to come out to shows if there's not like a full-on cure to the thing.
Well, yeah, and there's promising things for treatment, but not cures. There's no vaccines away, but you can treat it. And I remember I was looking at some of the numbers for that too. I think worldwide the fatality rate is 0.034%, but in the United States, it's like 0.054, which is about 3 to 5 times deadlier than the common flu. So it's still dangerous. I mean, really it is, but you got, I don't know. What we're doing now, I think, is working because I'm seeing the numbers kind of flattening out. I don't know if you've been paying attention to them or not. And yeah, just
I
what's
haven't.
that?
I haven't really kept up with it. I'm not good with
You
news.
there's a page on it on Facebook that puts the numbers out. It's more United States and globally. I mean, I'm sure if you look on your state websites like Pennsylvania, I know I saw some news how New York was starting to flatten out, which is great news. That's really good news because that was like the hot spot. But I think what I'm hearing too is that New Orleans, because they did the Mardi Gras thing, did the Mardi Gras parade on Fat Tuesday, which was about 33 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So today's Palm Sunday. So that's what it is. Yeah, I saw people, because today's a holy day. It's church. People were going to church today anyway, and I've heard of that too. But I don't know. But
it seems. Come on, like it's not really that necessary.
a lot of the churches, like the church that I even go to, they're offering online virtual services.
That's what I was going to say.
That's
If
what
it's
they're
that
doing.
necessary, just if it's that necessary to you, just try to find a way to do it mobily.
Yeah, do it online. I mean, things are so virtual now. I think the other thing too is you got to remember the First World War, the Great World War, caused the income tax.
Right.
Okay, that's why the income tax was instituted. Then after 9/11, we had the Patriot Act, and either of those things gone away. Right. Is anything else going to go away after this? You got to remember that. Being the libertarian that I am, I said this is going to make government more intrusive in our lives.
It's gonna be for the case of something going away, like you said. I can see that. I just don't know what it's gonna be. Watch it be like the internet sucks now. Whoops. We don't have internet anymore. Whoops.
That's when you see people really freaking out. That's when you see when there's no internet. It's like, what are we gonna do now? We get by on
I hope we don't lose internet I hope our society doesn't lose internet before May, because like the end of May, I have scheduled episodes coming out of my podcast, Evolving with Corey Castle.
I was happy to do one for you too. That's like that's my third time on your show.
Yeah, and like I said, that won't post till May. It's scheduled for the first week in May. But if the government takes the internet away, I hope that people get to listen to that episode.
Well, not necessarily take it away, but really, censor it and regulate it to the point. I see a lot of hysterical stuff out there too, and people need to chill a little bit. Just do it. Just lay low and chill. I mean, just a lot of hysterical things. It's like relax. Yeah, be cautious, be cool, but yeah,
if you feel like going outside or going to a crowded store, maybe stew on it.
Yeah. I went to the store yesterday. I did, but it wasn't crowded, and I got things that were needed. So I decided to get. This is nice to get out.
Yeah, I went to the store too. So I'm not coming from a place where I don't know. I went to like 3 places today. I went to the grocery store. I went to the other grocery store because both were really packed, and I was like, yeah, I'm not even staying here. And I think earlier in the week, me and my girl went to Target, and I got some stuff. But like for the most part, I've been at home.
Oh yeah, so you have a girlfriend now?
Yeah.
It's been a while since we talked. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think I saw something like that on Facebook. That's how you keep up on people's personal lives when you know they're in a relationship.
Yeah, I don't really post very often on Facebook. Most I do is the stuff that goes through my Instagram page is at Corey Castle, CORYKASTLE. It just goes to my Instagram, and then whatever the posts and stuff are all posts that are connected to the Instagram. So it's not like I even use Facebook for anything.
I'm too old for Instagram. I'm over 45, so they won't let me on.
Yeah. Is that the rule?
I'm kidding. They'll let me on. I do the old people stuff. I'm on
Like,
Facebook.
I think I have friends who are that old and on Instagram.
Nah, I'm just teasing. No, just it's like I said, things are just kind of strange now. It seems like this could be like one big reset. This COVID-19 thing could be like, it seems like it's a reset. It's like a reset of the wrestling business, a reset of the world. You're not seeing as much crazy social justice warrior stuff. You're just seeing some crazy conspiracy theories like, oh, this is crazy. But that's about it.
It's that we're all in this together, like,
Yeah.
mentality that's probably gonna like heal people, take away the world for people, take away their comforts, their things they take advantage of or take for granted, and take it away from them and see if they still bitch when this is over. They still bitch that they have to do things.
They probably will anyway.
I hope more people are just grateful. I hope everybody comes out, like, when this is over. I hope that everybody is, not affected, and everybody comes out and shows up again, and like people go to restaurants and interact with people and smile at everybody and just say hi to a new person.
They go back to work. They're glad, if they're grateful they have their jobs and their ability to pay their bills. Right. I mean, it might not be what's everything you expect. I mean, nobody's life goes exactly the way they planned. I don't care who you are. So it's the way it is. It's a possibility. Plus, also, you're at home, you're with your families, you're kind of realizing what's important.
Right.
And a lot of these things, these things happen for a reason. So we'll see what this is and what this is all about. I'm just glad, like I'm seeing some of the numbers start to flatten out a little bit, which I think is positive, and that's great. So way to go. Good job. We're doing it. And I didn't see the Ohio numbers yet, but the biggest number in Ohio was Cleveland area, which I'm outside of Cleveland, but because they have the international airport there, so a lot of people fly in from all over the world in Cleveland. So that could be the reason why. But just hope that people get the help that they need.
Jericho had a woman on his podcast this week who was someone who had corona and got through it.
Okay.
It was a cool educational little listen. And
how old was she? Do you mind me asking?
She was probably younger than me. I don't know. But
okay. She was pretty healthy. She was pretty healthy otherwise. Okay.
Yeah. And then Pink, the singer Pink?
Yeah. She has it.
She had it, and it's gone. So, there's hope for it, being something you can just sweat out of your system or something.
Yeah. Well, I think some other famous people had it too, like Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson.
Right.
So, hey.
They were quarantined in a different country, right? What?
I think
Italy.
Were they in Australia?
That sounds familiar. Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, we could be totally wrong on this. So
yes. Wherever it was, don't fact check it.
Yeah, please don't fact check me. Yeah, but even though I gave out percentages and numbers about where we're at right now. The other good thing too is that I think I'm hearing that a lot of the extra steps they took in New York were getting extra hospital beds and ventilators and stuff. That there's some hospitals that did have an influx of patients, but it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I hope
they're not ahead of it. So that's pretty, like the one ship that was brought in had only 20 patients on it, which is still, hey, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So that's good. That's positive.
It's another part I was talking about, the lessons in gratitude, because 20 people is better than 50 people, better than 60 people. it's 20 people, and that's a devastating number or whatever. But it could be way worse than that. So let's be so grateful that it's only 20 people.
Yeah, and ideally, you want to be able to be completely safe when you get out there. But at some point in time, we have to have a balance of when do we let people out versus when, how much, what's the risk? There's going to be some risk at some point, even when we are out.
How do you think this is going to affect wrestling? How do you think this is going to affect wrestling after this point?
I heard a lot of people make theories that, they're going to start popping on arm drags and body slams again.
Interesting theory. I was thinking that too.
Yeah, it's like a reset.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, here's me sitting around going like, well, I've had one foot in the business and one foot out, and the coronavirus is kind of like, whoop, well, get out. But if everyone's going to be popping for everything, I guess I won't.
Yeah, because what really sealed the deal for me, and I'll be honest, I'll talk about it when I do future episodes. I already had a kid. I was thinking about it, considering it, and that's when some of the stupid stuff started happening. This is 2015-ish, and yeah, because my oldest was born in 2015, where Joey Ryan was doing spots with his genitals.
Right.
And was that guy? He puts his hands in his pockets. Cassidy.
Yeah.
Cassidy. He's doing his stuff, and I'm seeing people on. I'm seeing intergender matches, and I just went, why am I going to do this? I just said, I had my run. I'm done.
I think mainstream pro wrestling is such a parody of itself. It's ridiculous sometimes.
And then it's funny because these are true numbers.
Mm-hmm.
1999, when you had the ECW, WWF,
right,
and WCW, 10 million people on average tuned in weekly to watch wrestling. 10 million. You know what that number on average is today now? 2 million.
Yeah. It's crazy how, like, somebody will be like, hey, you watch Raw? And the last one I watched was 6 months ago. Like, even people who claim to be huge wrestling fans, and they don't really watch it every week or really even care.
Yeah. So it's like, well, what happened? Well, I think only having one viable company for a while, because TNA was never, they were another company, but TNA now Impact. If you look at the ratings now, between NXT and AEW, if you look at the numbers, they're fighting over 100,000 fans.
Right.
That's what it breaks down to. They're averaging 100,000 viewers each. So they're trying to win this war. Oh, they won, 20 extra thousand viewers. That's nothing. And I just saw something recently where Friday Night SmackDown had a 0.4 rating on Fox. On Fox, a 0.4 rating. I'm like, how is this going to last? They're not going to keep him on if he keeps doing that. So that was like the lowest of all time. So those empty arena shows are weird, but the one time Lawler and Funk did it, but that was different. They had to do it that way. That was the way they did the angle. So,
or like halftime heat with The Rock and Mick Foley.
Yeah, that was like a hardcore match too.
Yeah.
But you're not. You said it's right. It's like it's a parody of itself. But I actually got into a little Twitter spat with this guy because of the Orange Cassidy stuff, and I said I used these numbers. I said, look, you got 80% drop in audience because of stupid crap like this. What's going on? And I was agreeing with Del Wilkes, Patriot.
Right.
Remember Del? Yeah, and Del and I were talking. He agreed with me and all the other old school guys. And the guy was like, "Well, what are you going to do? Try to say it's real?" No, I said, "No, I'm telling you, do not insult your audience. Don't insult their intelligence." It's kind of like when you go to a movie. I always equate going to a wrestling show to going to see a film. And if you're going to see, depending what kind of, it doesn't matter what kind of a movie it is, but I used Star Wars once. But if it's a science fiction movie, you're going to sit there and if special effects suck and they look fake, the audience laughs, but you lose them.
Right.
They don't respect what you're doing anymore. Like if you can see this little spaceship on a string going across the screen, they're going to, what is this? This is funny. Right? Like those fake Godzilla movies. It's like,
the original King Kong doesn't hold up.
No, and for the time it was done in, yes, it was in the 30s, the way they did the screen-on-screen projections. That was pretty cool. But yeah, the original King Kong with Fay Ray, no, it wouldn't. But you understand my point. Or if you're doing something that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, you're like, huh. I said, wait a second. Like in Star Wars, the one Star Wars movie that completely sucked and it was terrible, and I would tell them to their faces if they were talking to me, okay, was the Last Jedi.
Okay. Yeah, I think you told me this before.
There was a scene, and me being a wrestler, I'm trained to read audiences' reactions. I was with my wife, and when Princess Leia kind of decided, she looks like she was blown out into space. We're going, okay, oh wow, she's gonna die. Okay, but then again, she turns into Mary Poppins and floats back to the ship using the Force. And the audience I heard them laugh. Like, what the hell is this? Like they laughed. They didn't think it was great. They didn't laugh. I mean, they laughed, meaning kind of like that was pretty stupid. You know, just like, I almost wanted to go. Is it? I thought it was a rib. I honestly thought it was a rib. I'm like, I don't get this.
Sequence or something.
Yeah, what's going on here? Put on the real movie. I mean, it made no sense. It made absolutely no sense whatsoever. So especially Star Wars fans are the most loyal, but they're also there's a few that go online, stupid stuff and everything. But when you see something like that, because 6 months later they released Solo, and Solo was a pretty good movie. I gave it a B+.
I saw it in the theaters, man. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I liked Solo. But the problem was it followed The Last Jedi, and nobody liked The Last Jedi. And the executives, instead of not saying anything and letting it go, and saying we're putting out the best product we can, we want to make the fans happy, they lashed back at the fans saying, well, you're a bunch of misogynists, or you're a bunch of white privilege this or that or whatever. So I don't know if you heard about that or not. It was Brian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy were the ones that said that. So what happened was, fans boycotted Solo. It lost money.
Right.
That was the first Star Wars movie to lose money. Then the next one that came out, they put all on hold all these other movies because they were going to do one a year. They put that on hold because they needed time to reset, and they did The Rise of Skywalker. And if you paid attention to The Rise of Skywalker, it was done for the fans. It was like, instead of them saying they're sorry and all this other stuff, because to me, actions speak louder than words. That movie was for the fans. So I don't know if you saw it or not. But the pacing, they had to fix it. They had to fix that screw up of the second movie in the trilogy. So I thought it was. I mean, I said, okay, I understood what they did. They catered to the fans, and they did that. So that was good. And they got their woke points in there by getting 2 girls kissing each other for like 3 seconds. I saw that. I was like, yeah, that's what that was. I mean, that's what they do. They do that purposely in these things now. Well, quick question. Give me real quick before we get going here. What Netflix shows are you watching during this quarantine?
I just rewatched Crashing. I'm sorry, not Crashing. I rewatched Kidding on HBO, that Jim Carrey show. There's 2 seasons on HBO, and I just rewatched that. I stay with the same sort of like Netflix specials running on a loop. Like I watch like specials, like stand-up specials are like my favorite thing to watch. So like
Do you like Bill Burr? Do you like the comedian Bill Burr? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
He has an animated series on Netflix.
Yeah, I have the like some special edition DVD my cousin gave me. It's like displayed in my living room.
The F is for Family or something like that. That's
just family.
I'm watching the end. Look, I'm watching the 3rd season of that now, and I got through Tiger King. Which was like that's like, oh my god, that's a pro wrestling promoter right there. It's like, I saw this guy. It's like, yeah. Well, really, let's think about this. What did him in that trial was all the public stuff he did, doing him blowing up effigies of Carol Baskin.
Yeah.
It's like,
you know, it was weird. She's a weird character, like got away with like murdering her husband and stealing all his money. Like that's just weird. It's just weird. So
weird,
like, who knows where it's.
He just disappeared, you know?
Yeah.
And then let me think. Glow. Did you watch Glow at all?
Yeah, I watched it all when it was on. I haven't rewatched it, but I love Mark Maron a lot. So I just listened to his podcast. His podcast was a huge inspiration for me when it came to me wanting to start Evolving with Corey Castle. available on iTunes and Spotify.
You might remember when that show was actually, there was an actually syndicated TV show called Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't really watch it because I was still a little kid, but I remember seeing the commercials and stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, because I watched it. Well, actually, when I was at Cauliflower Alley Club, I met one of the original ones that was there. And God, I forgot her name, but she was there. I mean, she was there with her family. She was, I mean, this was, this is just 25 years after she did that, or 20 years after she did it. It was like 2014.
Right.
So when I saw her, so it was pretty cool. It was, like I said, it's, they get their stuff in, they get their digs in. That's what they do. And,
right.
Well, the big pet peeve I have about any show, and I don't know if I'm alone on this or not, but anytime you see a show with a father figure, he's a complete idiot.
It's like they're not going to turn down money to star in a sitcom that somebody wrote about a dumb father. So like I think some actors like comedic actors are like, well, I'm getting paid to just act like a dumbass.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Well, like remember, because I don't know if you're because you were born in like '83. But there were the sitcom TV dads in the '80s with Alan Thicke, who was in Growing Pains, and Bill Cosby in the Cosby Show.
Right.
So those were like Daddy Knows Best, or kind of like Father Knows Best type of father figures that you saw. They were good men. They were strong enough. Bill Cosby, that's a whole other thing. I'm just talking about the show.
Samson and Son.
Well, he was a TV dad. He was the essential TV dad. There was another show. It was called Family Ties with Michael J. Fox.
Right.
I don't know who Mike McKean. I don't know the actor's name, but he played the father.
Okay.
Yeah, he played the father in that, but he was a good solid father figure. These were family sitcoms that were out there with the father. But what changed it?
Danny Tanner.
What's that? Danny Tanner
with his cleaner and stuff.
No. I think what changed it was The Simpsons.
Yeah.
That
Simpsons did. The Simpsons did to comedy writing as what ECW did to the wrestling business.
You could say that. Well, The Simpsons. I can't tell you the last time I watched an episode of The Simpsons. I used to watch it all the time. I loved it, but it's just like, I mean, it used to be a great show, but it's kind of like they should have ended it a long time, but it's still on.
Right.
Family Guy was the same way. The show burnt out. It just happens. It has a shelf life. A show anybody has. Even wrestlers have shelf lives. So, or anything else. But yeah, that's the only thing that kind of burns me up. It's just like they make the father look like it. Because I remember my dad saying this when I was watching The Simpsons when I was a teenager, and he's like, "Oh, they make the father look stupid. That's terrible. It's horrible." I'm like, "I'll lighten up, Dad." I was just thinking about that, but then now I realize, hey, wait a second. He's got a point there. So, but a lot of like American Dad was like that.
I think Seth MacFarlane, the creator of both the Family Guy and the Cleveland Show and American Dad, the guy who was like starring in all that stuff and writing it all. I think he got too afraid to get canceled because everybody gets canceled for everything. So if he keeps making these jokes on the show, then someone's going to be like, "Hey, this isn't holding up. You're offending me. Let's cancel him." And let's look back at his old life and see what he used to be like, because he probably was a jerk. And then they cancel him completely. Maybe he got scared because he saw like how much money Louis lost.
Well, Louis, Kevin Hart. Trying to think any other comedian. Oh, you can. What's that?
Aziz.
Yes. Well, Aziz, you know what the thing with him? It was a consensual.
Yeah, I read the whole thing. It was like a date that she didn't like.
She she didn't like how the way it turned out.
Right. Because he was too pushy or something. But like, people are pushy. It's dating. What are you talking about?
Any ladies listening to this, there's a news flash for you. Men are trying to get laid. Period.
Yeah, is that brand new? That's a brand new thing.
Yeah. And the best time to talk to us or ask us for anything is about 10 minutes after we get laid. But yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Have you watched on Netflix Mike Birbiglia's specials?
No, I have not. I'll probably have to check it out.
he has this joke. Just probably it probably predates the specials, but he would say, "Oh, a woman friend of mine said to me, 'Can you believe he wanted to sleep with me after only 5 dates?'" It's like, I can believe that. He actually wanted to sleep with you after 0 dates, but he thought a few trips to Applebee's would might grease the wheels a little bit.
Exactly. That'll do it. It's true. Yeah, with Aziz, yeah, it was a date. He believed it was consensual, and then I guess the girl tried to say she was. I don't know. Well, I will say this though. I mean, I've lived that kind of lifestyle where it was easy to get that and one night stand type of stuff. And the thing I would tell you is when you wake up,
Hunk, dude, you're such a hunk.
oh no, I was in my 20s maybe, not now, but no. I'm being honest. Like if you did that type of stuff and you partied and you hooked up, you did that hookup type of thing. How do you feel the next day? You don't feel good.
Right.
You don't. I mean, you don't feel good. You're kind of like self-loathing and regret. I mean, you just don't feel good. So it's just, I think when you do anything, it's like, how did you feel? Like, how do you feel when you're doing it? I mean, you might feel good at the time, but what's the long effect? So,
well, like that was the part, something, maybe it was the last episode of that show that I was telling you about, Kidding, that Jim Carrey show.
mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if it was the last episode. It was one of the last episodes of season 2. He had the Dalai Lama on. Salvador Dalai Lama, and he was trying to confess to this monk that he's having strong sexual desires and people like him can't be happy. And then the guy said, "Happy is a fleeting moment. You can't continuously be happy. That's just moment. That's just moments."
Yeah.
Like you can be happy for when it's happening, but then after it's over, you got to crash from that somehow. And everybody in a different way.
You can't all be good. It's not all going to be good. It's not all going to be perfect. And
right.
It's that, like I was just saying earlier, how many people that you meet that their lives turn out exactly the way they planned?
Right.
Very few. So it doesn't work that way.
Right.
It never does. So I mean, yeah, we all think it does, and you think, oh, this is it, but you don't know. I mean, but yeah, no, it's cool. Well, just if there's anything, this is how we're gonna wrap this up. And I appreciate you giving me about 35, 40 minutes of your time. We could talk for hours.
Yeah, you got all my time all the time, but I don't have kids that I have to lay down for a nap, and you do.
Yeah. We'll get to this next one, but I just wanted to ask you if you got to leave any words of wisdom, anything you want to part with anybody, just feel free to. What do you got to say?
Whatever it is, it's never too late for that is. Sometimes you don't know what it is that you want until what you want finds you, and what you want can't find you unless you find yourself first.
All right, let me write that down. Basically, take your life as it comes to you. Then, in other words.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, you have to know yourself and know that it's you that's responsible for all your stuff, and not somebody else or not some other force. It's you. You have to be accountable to you all the time.
Right.
Because you got to know yourself before what you want really finds you.
Right. You have to be responsible. You're responsible for your own life. It's personal responsibility. Absolutely.
And that happiness is a fleeting feeling. It's not like some destination. It's part of the process. You're going to be happy sometimes and you're going to be sad sometimes. It's part of being a human. Not everybody walks around happy all day. It's just not possible.
No, it's not. It's impossible. But I appreciate your time and I appreciate the compliment. Thank you, Corey.
Thanks.
And I'm definitely going to have you on again soon. All right, man. Thanks a lot. Everybody, thank you for listening.
Good luck with
this.
Thanks. Be fun. Have a safe. Bye.